Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are sitting down and getting ready for the afternoon. I have a few errands to run, a few clients that are coming over, and so I thought I would get ready with you guys on camera. I asked a few of my Instagram followers to send me some questions that I can answer on this video. So yeah, let's get into it, you guys. So I'm just going to be doing some basic makeup today. I'm using the Smashbox Pore Minimizing Primer on my T-zone for today. Just an everyday makeup look, just to make me look a little bit put together, but not going too crazy. We're not doing much today. You guys like my nails? I'm kind of obsessed with the color. I feel like this sort of teal color looks so good with my skin tone. But I definitely feel out of my comfort zone because they are very bright and out there, so I'm kind of like, oh gosh, but I actually really love it and I love the glitter detail, so I'm obsessed with them. I'm just gonna buff out the Rare Beauty foundation with my IT Cosmetics buffing brush, and I'm gonna jump into the first question for that you guys sent in. Someone asked best foundation and concealer for women over 30. So I personally think that foundation wise, I really love something more liquidy. So Armani Luminous Silk is really great for women over the age of 30 because it's a really nice thin texture. Personally, my professional kit, I really like the Pat McGrath foundation because of that same reason. It has like a really nice light texture and it kind of gives this like luminous from within kind of feel, but it also doesn't settle in too much texture on the skin. So I personally really like that foundation for mature skin gals. I also, for concealer, I just tend to use Tarte Tape Shape, but with mature skin, I use it very sparingly. So what I do is I won't like apply it directly with the applicator onto the skin. I'll put it on the back of my hand and use a brush very lightly in the areas where I want more coverage, because I want to avoid too much product on mature skin or people above the age of 30. So not to say that people of the age of 30 are mature skin, but I guess that's the point of the question, right? It's to say like, I don't know. This question is setting me up to get a lot of hate, okay? But what I mean to say is that use products sparingly as you get older, because that's gonna look best on more textured skin. And then the second question that I got kind of goes hand in hand with that. They asked how to put makeup on mature skin or adult skin. And so that kind of goes hand in hand with what I said before. I really like to, with mature skin, work in really light layers and try not to go in too heavy-handed with a lot of product from the get-go. So that's one thing that I would really recommend, is try to avoid any unnecessary product. If you don't need a color corrector, don't use a color corrector. If you're gonna use a color corrector, use it very lightly. So I really just... And mature skin is one thing that I struggled with a lot when I got into the industry, and I practiced it, and I feel like I've mastered it really well because I've done a lot of research on what looks good on mature skin. So I'm gonna give you some tips. Yes, definitely. One thing that I also find really important when doing makeup on mature skin, aside from not using too much product, is like the prep is really important. So I like to make sure that the skin is super nicely hydrated beforehand, before using any products. I find that mature skin tends to be a little bit more on the dry side. So I prefer to make sure that the skin is nicely prepped with some hydration before I do so. And I also like to exfoliate the skin beforehand, because it'll remove like any of those dead skin cells that tend to disrupt foundation before going on, and then hydrating the skin to make sure that all of that hydration penetrates deeper layers of the skin, and that just allows the makeup to sit nicer, especially on more mature skin that tends to be a little bit more textured with fine lines and such. So that's a really great tip. Just make sure that you have a really great skincare routine and that you're really using products that are hydrating. It's very helpful. Someone else asked if I like to use brow pomades. I personally have never used them, but they don't seem like something that really intrigues me all that much. I find that with brow pomades, they're really just more hype other than anything else, and they're not really giving the effect that I enjoy. I really like a more natural brow kind of look. So I tend to just kind of use like a brow pencil or something of the sort, because I tend to get a more natural look with that and I can blend it out a little bit easier. I don't like to use products that make my job harder. So if I have to like be very careful with a product, I probably won't use it ever, because I'm looking for things that are gonna make my life easier, not make my life harder. So if I find that there's something that makes it more difficult for me to achieve what I want, then I'm probably not gonna use it. So that's just my thoughts on brow pomades. Now that I'm using my setting powder, I remembered another thing that I really like to do with mature skin is I like to use powder very sparingly on mature skin. Like you see how on my face, I have less fine lines, so I use like a ton of powder, especially in my oily areas. With mature skin, that doesn't tend to happen. Mature skin very rarely gets oily. So you can get away with using less powder than the average person. So that's one thing that I've learned with mature skin is not to use a ton of powder. Creams and liquids tend to mimic the skin better. So using creams instead of powders is really helpful on mature skin. Someone else asked me what my current powder that I'm using is. And I've been using Laura Mercier translucent powder, but I also go over top on any like oily areas or areas with larger pores with the One Size Beauty translucent powder. I recently purchased it and I really like it. It kind of just gives you like a blurred kind of look to the skin, which is really nice. So I've been enjoying that. I'm actually skipping concealer today under my eyes, and that's not because I did that on purpose. That's actually just because I just forgot. So we're rolling with it for today. So yeah. Someone just asked how I've been doing, and I really love this question. I've been doing really well. I have been very happy recently. I've just been going through a lot of changes that I feel like have been for the better, and at every step of this process, which I'll probably share in another video, has been really just comforting and I feel like is the right step for me. Aside from the fact that I've also been going to therapy and I also have been taking medication for the past 2 months, and I feel like it's really changed my life for the better. I feel like not everyone out there talks enough about how good therapy and medication is for people who need it. And definitely I think that if you're someone out there that feels like you need some sort of mental health help, I highly recommend therapy or seeing a professional, because it's really made a big difference for me, and I personally have loved the effect that it's had on my overall mood. So I am a big advocate for therapy and psychiatric help and medication. If you think you want to take medication, definitely do it. It's something that could help you out in the long run, and if you can, then by all means go for it. So that's all for today, you guys. I popped on some mascara and some lip gloss and we're ready to go for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more of me. Follow me on socials so that way you can send in your question the next time we do this, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.